Hey guys, just a short reminder that our workshop will be starting at 11 a.m. Thank you. Hi, Miss Guo. We'll be starting at 11 a.m. Just give a few minutes for everyone to join. Thank you. And I'll do a short introduction before we start. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I am Chelsea, your moderator for this workshop. We'll now invite Coinbase online with the topic Built on Base by Ms. Yu Yang Guo and Mr. Tiu from Coinbase. Firstly, Ms. Guo is a Coinbase staff software engineer focusing on scaling products and infrastructure internationally, as well as innovating in the Web3 space to solve real-world problems. Prior to Coinbase, Ms. Guo worked at Dropbox leading engineering teams. Her impact spans from creating core products used by hundreds of millions of people to building next-generation petabyte-scale distributed metadata storage systems. Secondly, we have Mr. Tiu, senior software engineer on the Base team, who has worked on crypto infrastructures, blockchain integrations, multi-chain liquidity management, and most recently, on-chain attestations, aka Coinbase verifications. Mr. T is enthusiastic about the general DeFi and DID space in crypto. Prior to Coinbase, Mr. Chi was working in the AEC industry and designed Star Wars and the world of Avatar at Disney parks. Coinbase is an American publicly traded company started in 2012 that operates a cryptocurrency exchange platform. It is the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the United States by trading volume and aims to build a crypto economy that is a fair, accessible, efficient, and transparent financial system enabled by crypto. Ms. Guo and Mr. T, please.
Hello, everyone. We're excited to be here. So today we're gonna bring you the session about building on Base at the US FinTech Week. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we actually get started, let's a quick disclaimer here. All the information we're providing today are only for educational purposes. None of them are financial advices. So yeah, quickly go over the agenda here. So Yuyang and I will be leading the session today. So today we'll spend maybe the first 15 minutes about what is Base and why we're building Base and something we're looking out for 2024. And then we're actually gonna talk about like a real world problem that is uniquely solvable by the Web3 technology. And then we're gonna actually try to get our hands dirty and try to build that together and really go deep into the technical side of things. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first thing first, why Base?
Yeah.
A lot of people are actually asking question about, if you go to the next slides, why we're building Base. So Coinbase, you probably know Coinbase. We've been, in this industry building for almost decades now. We have, 100 million users from 100 countries. We are, public traded company on NASDAQ. We're also fully licensed in the country that we're operating. And also today that, there's exciting news about SEC approved the first spot Bitcoin ETFs with Coinbase as the custodian of the majority of the issuers. So with next slides, yeah, like why we're actually building a decentralized Ethereum layer 2, right? Like Coinbase has been building exchanges that, serves retail and institutional customers, but why a decentralized solution such as Base? I think the key insights here is at Coinbase, fundamentally, we believe that decentralization is the key thing that will enable the open global on-chain economy. And the global on-chain economy is really the way that we use to update the system, and that will give us improved economic freedom. With that, we will have, property rights. You actually own the thing that you own. You will have currency stability. You won't wake up the next day with all your money inflated away. Argentina just saw 160% of inflation last year, simply because people don't have access to, stable currencies through their local banking system. You will have free trades. You'll be able to trade freely with anyone from the globe. And most importantly, you will have a level playing ground where, wherever you're from, as long as you have access to the internet, you get all the services just as everyone else. And with increased economic freedom, that brings us a lot of good things, right? If you read about research, they will give us better life expectancy, better literacy, more happiness. It's simply going up to the right. And for the things that we don't want, it simply goes down. We'll see less of them. So the logic behind, why we're building Base a layer 2 solution is really simple. Decentralization enables an open global on-chain economy, which improves economic freedom. which simply makes the world a better place. So now you probably heard about on-chain, a few times. So let's actually take a step back and really define what is on-chain. What does really mean when we say on-chain is the next online? So if you look at the pre-internet era, which is the early 2000s, I think we're old enough to see that. But essentially, as an average user, you basically consume sources from centralized sources like newspaper, books. And as a developer or builder, there isn't much you can do. And then the internet came around. With that, you actually, as a builder, it's much better. For the first time, you'll be able to build applications that will connect people to read, to write, and share information around the globe, right? That's what, enable like WordPress, like Amazon, Google, Twitter, and also the video technology that are used to chat today. That's really good, right? You got information like flow freely around the globe. But the problem with the internet era is that you can't really do that with value, with ownership, right? You still cannot build any application that allow anyone to freely transact with anyone in the world. So today we believe we're really standing on that pivotal point. That is the moving from online to on-chain, right? Where the data, all the financial data, the ownership data is stored on a public ledger instead of a centralized database. And we believe that this is the most powerful developer platform in the human history that will allow anyone to be able to build application to allow anyone to participate in the open global on-chain economy. And we're already seeing that happening, right? You see this chart. This is the number of on-chain users on Ethereum. Keeps growing up to the right. We're also, next slide, we're seeing like on-chain developers also keep going up to the right. We're also seeing on-chain use cases keep growing. We see like on-chain art collections. We see on-chain advocacy. We see on-chain social media. We also see restaurants coming on-chain, gaming coming on-chain. Literally everything is coming on-chain. So with that, let's actually talk a little bit more about what is actually Base. So this table is basically from Brent Armstrong, who is the founder and CEO of Coinbase. And he had laid out this like secret master plan in his mind like 10 years ago when he started his company. This table is essentially a comparison between the two open protocols, i.e. internet and crypto. The very first phase is really about building the open protocol, such as Bitcoin, Ethereum. The second phase is about bootstrapping the network. So in this phase, it's really about bridging people from the local fiat system into the crypto economy. And here, we build the crypto exchange that is used today by the retail and institutional customers as Coinbase. And the third phase is really about building an interface that average user can use. So in the internet era, it's like the Chrome web browser or like iPhone in mobile. The equivalent in crypto is actually the user wallet that people use, such as Coinbase wallets or MetaMask. And the final phase of this plan is really about rebuilding a lot of the financial and applications on top of this crypto ecosystem. And right now we're actually standing at phase called 3.5. That is, very close to the end game, and we believe Base is a tool that will allow us to transition to that final game. So our vision is really about bringing the next million developers, the next billion users on chain. Our mission is to enable incredible products by creating a world-class on-chain developer platform. So let's now actually talk about, what is Base L2, right? What is even Ethereum layer 1? What is a blockchain even, right? I'm gonna pause here maybe for 2 seconds for everyone to think about, what is a blockchain? And what does it do? What does it actually do? So in my mind, I think the easiest way to describe it is it's simply, sell blocks to user, and user buys the block to, to trade, to collect on-chain arts, to play games, etc. And the more and more people trying to play or transact, the more expensive it's going to get, right? And also, secondly, it's getting slower because there will be a queue of people trying to transact. And that's exactly what happened to us, in the last bull cycle, where on Ethereum layer 1, we saw like a simple trade will cost you like more than 100 US dollar. So that's why we're building a layer 2 solution to bring down the cost and make it more scalable. By not executing the transaction and also just batching and compress the data to layer 1 to save gas. And this is the chart that is showing that trend, right? The blue line is basically the Ethereum layer 1. You can see that it's like flattening out because it's operating at capacity. And the red line is aggregated transaction from layer 2 solutions. You can see that it's starting from maybe like 1% 2 years ago. Now it's already surpassed Ethereum and it's operating like three times or 4x. So it's much more cheaper, which drives a lot of on-chain activities. So base layer 2 is really secure and has ease of use. It still leverages the security from layer 1 by posting data to Ethereum layer 1. It has low costs, only costs you a few cents to do a transaction compared to right now, like at least $5 to send on Ethereum. It's open sourced. It's built to be decentralized. We're still slowly moving into more decentralization by building out the decentralized fault proofs and whatnot. This is an open ecosystem. Everyone is free to build into the ecosystem. We're also part of the OP stack with the team from the OP Labs. Base has joined the OP stack as the second core developer. We've been working closely with the ecosystem to build out like more client diversification with OP REST. We're also pushing the cost even more down through which we call EIP 444 that will touch base later. We're also contributing back to the ecosystem by allocating 30% of the profits we're getting back to the public goods funding. And we're already seeing a lot of use cases on chain already. We see, on-chain infrastructure, on-chain DeFi, on-chain gaming, on-chain social media, on-chain wallets that's already live on Base now. We're already seeing a lot of adoption on Base as well. There are a lot of users and also assets or TVL that are on Base already. Base is also the fast layer 2 to hit the first 100,000 users, which is still keep growing, but it's only took us like 55 days to hit that target, which was considered to be one of the most successful layer 2 launch so far. And Base is also a full stack solution. It's not only have the base compute layer, it also have all the developer SDKs such as on-ramps, identity, and as developer on top of applications, we have distribution channels. We also have easy to use interface such as Coinbase Wallet. So the analogy here is really we're building the next generation of the developer platform that is very similar to say Apple Store or Google Play, which are pretty exciting. And we're actually very active in Coinbase Singapore as well. We're fully licensed here. We have a full stack of local team ranging from engineering to product, legal compliance operations that builds things like localization, easy onboarding, easy payments. We have a broad suite of products that supports both retail and institutional customers as well as professional traders. We have done a lot of investments. We have already closed around like 20 deals here in Singapore and much more in the Southeast Asia area in general. We're actively involved in educational and training activities such as the events we're hosting today. We're actually building things specifically for Singapore. We really enable very easy onboarding experiences through SimPass with a few clicks. You can join and start trading. We also made the fiat off ramp very easy through our integration with PayNow and fast bank transfer. You can do your first transaction pretty easily through those technologies. There are already 200 plus assets that are on platform that allow anyone to trade. And you can also participate in our Earn program by simply hold USDC and earn rewards. And we are really excited to build with any one of you. If you have any idea and if you want to join us, feel free to let us know. Cool. With that, we're going to get into some of the things that we're pretty excited about. Both Yuyan and I are pretty excited about for 2024. So first thing first, EIP 444, which is a proposal that will drive the transaction cost even more, which is anticipated to be at least 50% more. So I won't get into the technical details, but the TLDR is, instead of posting data to the Ethereum layer ones, we're going to have like cheaper storage. That will drive the cost even more down. And Base is participating with the efforts together with all the other ecosystem partners, which is supposed to be coming Q1 this year. And the next thing we're pretty excited about is RWA, or real world assets, and also tokenization. Singapore is really leading the charge in a lot of these aspects. You probably heard about Project Guardian. That is an initiative that started by Monetary Authority of Singapore, which explore the possibility of tokenized bonds and hedge funds on chain. Like stable currencies such as USDC and XGD are also very important. I think we'll see them getting a lot of adoption this year, especially for countries like Argentina, Turkey that have high inflations. We're also seeing tokenized real estate on chain that's already happening. We already saw like houses and apartments that are minted as NFTs that get sold like under a few minutes. There are also tokenized stocks where you can buy like a fractional share of the stock. Those are pretty exciting, but I think the issue that, or the gaps that we saw, is a lot of those products that actually needs like some information about the customer, about like who you're trading against, or who your counterparty is. And actually there isn't any data on chain yet. So that's why we sort of launched this product called Coinbase Verifications late last year, which is basically bringing that trust on chain. So to enable all these products, so that we're bringing the on-chain identity and on-chain attestation on chain to enable them. And the next thing I think we're really excited about is called decentralized social and on-chain loyalty. So you might heard a lot about like centralized, social medias like Facebook, for example. They got hacked for like data leaks, or they like some centralized player, they like sell data and profits from it. I think there are basically two problems, right? Like, because the data are stored in a centralized database, like they can sort of profit that data without your permission. You don't get any of that, and that centralized database will become the single point of failure for the hacker to hack. But with decentralized identity, you actually own your own identity, your own data, your own profile, and there is no single point of failure, and people just can't hack the entire system. And also, you're not sort of locked into a certain vendor, right? You can take your followers away, you can take your profile away. No one can prevent you from doing that. So we're pretty bullish about that. So Friend.tech and Workcast are something that are getting a lot of adoption in the past year. The other thing we want to talk about is Starbucks Odyssey. That is another thing that launched late last year, which is an extension of the reward system, essentially. So that allows you to basically finish certain tasks and get, say, some vouchers for discounts as NFTs, and also such as like an NFT ticket to actually view their coffee bean farms. So that's like brings a lot of interesting idea for like how does the products really interact with their communities. And Yu Yang will actually talk more about on the technical side on that. So I will transition over to Yu Yang. So Yu Yang, feel free to take it away.
Yeah, thank you so much, Qi. And hopefully it was really exciting to see all of these super new and exciting use cases. And we're just at the beginning, so there's so many more that's upcoming. So in the next about 20 to 30 minutes, we're going to walk through like a demo and like kind of a workshop, hands-on workshop, to get everyone, I guess, more familiar with building on top of Base. Now that hopefully you're excited about the prospect of Web3 and like its influence on the Web3 or like fintech industry. Before that, I'm doing a quick poll here on everyone's experience, so I know how fast we can go. So here, like maybe just a comment in the comment section, like 1, if you've never written a smart contract before; 2, maybe you've seen or learned some; 3, like you've already written your own dApp. Yeah, and so please answer. Give a few seconds for folks to answer, so I know how fast we can go. Okay, cool. we have a really good mixture of everyone, and I guess hopefully everyone gets to learn a little bit. And if you're answering one, that's great, because this should be your first chance to write a smart contract. So let's get started. So I will, I guess, before getting too excited, I will bore you with a little bit of context around why we're building this, right? Because the why is very important. And I guess, oh yeah, sorry. And before that, in order to follow along with demo, you will need to download like Web3 wallet and make sure to download the Chrome extension version. But if you don't, you can still write the smart contract. You just can't build the front end. So if you don't have that set up, that's also fine too. Okay, so I'm going to start with talking about the use case, the why of like why we want to build Web3, right? So T actually earlier mentioned that, Starbucks has built this loyalty program. Let's use a fictional company called Rock Solid Finance. And let's say, right, like they want to build a loyalty program to incentivize their customers. So maybe they want to accumulate some points, and then, after you perform some actions, and then once you have enough points, you become a gold customer, right? And actually, in fact, at this point, you should probably be asking me like, why Web3, right? Because this program exists for almost every single company out there. They're all using the Web2 technology. It works pretty well. So why Web3, right? So then at this point, right, like I would invite everyone to think beyond just one company, right? Think about cross-company collaboration, like expand our horizon and see how like Web2 technology currently falls short. So to start with, let's say like Diamond Ring Finance, right? Like a small consumer loan company, also fictional. If you want to start that company and want to take this name, feel free to go for it. So let's say they want to give preferential rates to Rock Solid customers, right? And maybe Firmly Finance is a annual fintech conference organizer. They want to hand out conference passes to Rock Solid Gold customers, right? So these are really like mutually beneficial partnerships that the industry could really benefit a lot from, but that it's actually pretty hard nowadays with Web2. So I think, I don't know how many of you are like first year students versus having had a few internships before. Another quick poll. What do you think is the average engineering time it takes for a company to add a third-party integration? So feel free to comment in the comment section. But yeah, very good, great seeing a lot of answers. I'm really glad nobody wrote A. So at least you have a really good idea of like the rough like difficulty it takes right now. So it could range anywhere between, like, honestly, between B to F, and I would say C to E is more applies more to most companies out there. But if you have done an internship, or you're like me who actually like works daily with third-party integrations, this is a not easy task, right? Like you actually have a lot of cross-company burden of like, let's say like today I want to work with third party. I need to wait for them to build the API or come up with the API, check their API documentation. We're using different services, different networks. We're talking in a different language, and the API's documentation might be not correct, and all kinds of testing problems with API integration. So right now, this is actually a very non-trivial task. Usually takes a team of 3 to 5 people for months of effort, right, to do the integration. This thus gives us a really good case for having a much better, web infrastructure, right? That's why we call it Web3, that actually solves some of these problems. And in fact, if you think about it, like this is not just one company to one company, but N companies who all want to work with each other. It's like N by N, right? O of N squared complexity for actually building out the whole collaboration. And yeah, it's a lot of resource waste. And it really gets into the way of collaboration and having a much more vibrant like financial system. So to kind of recap what I talked about, right? So like in Web2 world, like everyone have their proprietary system, right? They have their own database that no one else has access to. They have their own APIs that like they have to explicitly open up and like they build out. And most companies don't actually build it out really well, I would say. And so that really gets into the way of collaboration. And secondly, right, like you see every single company repeat this loyalty program again and again. They rebuild everything from the ground up again. And then, a higher infra maintenance cost, you have to commit to maintaining your database, maintaining your service, etc. So this brings us to the unique advantages of Web3, where, instead of proprietary system, you have this public on-chain and tamper-proof on-chain system, right? It really supercharges collaboration, which I'll demonstrate later. And we lots of shared infra. So a very core idea inside of Web3 is composability. So think about just creating Lego blocks that allow everyone to easily assemble their new idea using existing components in a very, very easy way. We also see hands-on how this plays out in the Web3 world too. And instead of like ongoing maintenance costs, you kind of pay the gas fee as you transact. So this is the payment model that I guess most companies are more like happier with, easier to manage. Right. So with all that like more theoretical stuff out, I guess let's just try to model our rewards program in our Web3 world. So I'm sure many of you have already heard about fungible tokens, like Ethereum is a fungible token, and NFTs, right? Like or a collectible. So what we're gonna do is like model these points as like tokens and model these rock solid gold badges like an NFT. And I quote NFT because it's actually not strictly an NFT that we're using. And yeah, once these on-chain concepts exist, then it becomes extremely easy for these partner companies to interact with these public concepts in order to create the collaboration. So for example, Firmly Finance, right, they could just look at your wallet and see, okay, you possess a rock solid gold badge, then you get your free conference pass. With that, I'm going to show you a demo of what we will end up building by the end of today's session. Not with a pretty UI, but we will have built all the core components here. So start with, this is the Rock Solid Finance homepage. Let's say I've done a bunch of good stuff to qualify for this gold badge. So what we need to do is I need to have a Web3 wallet, which can be anything. So I just use Coinbase wallet as an example. There are all kinds of choices out there. So all we need to do is connect our wallet, click connect, right? And then this takes care of distributing the gold badge to me. So now if I check my wallet, hey, I received my rock solid gold badge, right? So now this is something that actually I own, like it's on my wallet, so I can actually use it. Now, after that is done, sorry, I have a trouble skipping to the next slide. Okay. What does it look like on the partner side, right? So let's say Firmly Finance, right? Like they're creating a conference. Let's say they're doing like a QR code check-in, right? You scan a QR code, then you are able to connect your wallet, and then you check in with your wallet. You again authorize a connection, and then Firmly Finance is able to verify you own this rock solid gold badge easily, and then you're granted a conference pass. Okay, so far so good. I guess I can't see everyone's reaction. I'm assuming it's all good. Feel free to stop me if anything's confusing. So with that, like you will see like, but here are the core concepts I talked about that like smart contract and like Web3 really supercharges collaboration, and the composability will speed up development by a huge amount. All right, so now, okay, finally we're done with the waiting. Let's get started with building some stuff together. So I will mention like most of stuff, like I will give you a QR code at the end, so like you can reference later, so you don't need to actually like memorize all of this code. So as long as you're following the rough flow and logic here. All right, so let's start with building the asset reward flow. So now pretend I'm no longer from Coinbase. I'm a front-end engineer or a smart contract engineer from Rock Solid Finance. All right, so what do we need to do, right? So in 3 simple steps. So the first step is I will just pre-mint, or mint also means just create. So I will create these assets with a smart contract, and we will use ERC 1155. If you haven't heard about ERC, that stands for Ethereum Request for Comment, which is the way that anyone in the world can propose a new standard to Ethereum ecosystem. So ERC 1155 is the one that allows us to create both fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens in the same contract. So we're going to use that to create, let's say, 1 million points and then 10,000 limited gold badges. And then we're gonna just create them and deposit them into the rock solid company wallet. So a company can have a bank account, so the company can have their company wallet, right? And after that, we're gonna build a the button where you can click to connect your wallet. And then lastly, once you connect the wallet, we're able to know like the wallet, its address, its unique address, and we're able to send the gold badge from the company wallet to the user's wallet. All right, so these are the steps. So starting with creating the company wallet. All right, okay, so here becomes the fun part, I guess, which is creating the smart contract. And actually, hopefully it's a little bit anticlimactic, but this 15 or 16 lines of code is all it takes to actually do like create all of the assets that we've been describing. So let's let's just get started and like actually build this ourselves, and you all can follow along with this. So let me get out of the presentation mode and show you. So here you can get the starter code. Yeah, sample ERC 1155. Let me know if I'm going too fast. Yeah. Yeah. So and yeah, we can let's. So here are the smart contract, and feel free to copy that and go to remix.ethereum.org. So you should be able to see some interface like this, and go ahead and paste your smart contract here, which I think it will give you a warning, which is okay to accept since you all trust me. Okay, so yeah, so feel free to copy this contract, and you see that most of this is actually importing the library, right? This is what I was talking about for composability. So if the ERC, so all of these libraries exist, are heavily audited and published open source, so that we can actually build our own contract really easily. So here, for example, and we are inheriting from ERC 1155, and the real code that we need to write is here in the constructor, which says just how many assets that we want to create. And where do we want to deposit it to? So here I'm depositing to the sender, which is whoever creates this contract. And then I'm going to need to say which of these assets I'm creating. So I'm creating points, and I'm creating how many of those. So let's say this much. And then similarly, I'm going to create the gold badges. Gold badges. And then let's create less of them. So let's say less, maybe, or even just 100 of them, right? So hopefully this demystifies smart contract writing. And this is actually all we need. And if you're curious about where the image lives, this is where actually it lives, and it's has some metadata inside there. So if you put this here and you put 2, you will see the metadata, which includes also the URL to the image that you can double check. Okay, so yeah, so that's where your rock solid gold badge lives. Okay, so once you've written this smart contract, you can click compile, and you may see some compiler version. So this version I'm using requires 8.19, 8.19. So just change the compiler version and click compile, and this should work. Let's click compile. Did I mess up something? Oh yeah, so I'm missing a last parameter that is data. So you can actually pass arbitrary data to this, so just feel free to leave it empty. This is for more advanced use cases. Okay, so now you have the contract deployed, and you can hop over to the 4th tab here, which allows you to actually deploy this contract. So to start with, pick the VM, which is kind of a local testing sandbox. So you can click deploy, and you will see a success message saying here, it deployed successfully to your local sandbox, testing sandbox. And you can see the deployed contracts here in this tab, where you see by the fact of inheriting this ERC 1155, it already comes with all of these useful interfaces. For example, the name is Web3 Workshop that we created, and you can call balance off. which is the account and the ID. So if we use this account here, and then the ID, if you want to check the points, you have, this much. And then if you check gold badge, you have this much, right? Okay, so this is actually our contract. Hopefully that was, again, like the theme of this workshop is, it is very anticlimactic. It's so much easier than you would think it would be. So this is all it took for us to create these NFTs. And once you actually finish that, you can actually use an injected provider like a wallet to deploy it to the actual network. So usually the default is Ethereum, and actually, if you try to deploy on this, you will see like a very, very expensive transaction cost, right? So oof, like a $200 to $300 cost. And this is what Qi was talking about earlier, where Ethereum, with its strong decentralization and security, you also run into scalability issues, which is why we launched Base, which allows us to do all these, rely on L1 security and decentralization, but also have a much higher, like more scalable way to deploy this. So this is much cheaper. In fact, this is more expensive than I'm used to. It's usually less than $5, but you could click confirm and actually deploy your contract. And then again, like $13 to us might seem a lot, but like for a company, right? Like this is like very minimal spending. And then you see these pending NFTs already coming into my wallet. Okay, cool. So that is the smart contract. And I am aware that our session ends at 45. We actually thought it was going to end at 12. Like, is it okay to go a little over, or should I try to cut short? Okay.
Session, well, it's supposed to be lunch break afterwards, so I think we can extend a little bit.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. Maybe I'll try to wrap up at 45, and then maybe after that, optional questions, if that sounds good. Okay.
Yep, sounds
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I'll continue. So yeah, so hopefully that was fun, and you just wrote your first smart contract and deployed some NFTs or like collectibles in your wallet. Again, like time and time amazed at how like powerful smart contract is, because we just deploy a very simple one, but you can put so many arbitrary logic and financial investment like rules right into your contract to design and create any app you want. And these open source libraries exist, so it makes our job extremely easy. All right, so once we created the assets, the next step is actually to build the flow where like we can connect the user's wallet, right? So we're gonna do that. And given time is pretty short, I think I'll just do the demo. Like if you can, I might go a little fast, so you might not be able to follow, but feel free to come back and try it yourself later. So yeah, so bit.ly/rockfe. I have some starter code, which is a very simple interface that says, hello, Rock Solid Finance and Connect Wallet, which does nothing. And this is the entire code of the starter template. This is all setup code that just a boilerplate that you can copy to any new project. Here is the core logic. And sorry, yeah, so sorry, this should bring you here. I accidentally went to the cheat sheet, which we need to fill our code to connect to our wallet. And of course, you saw the spoiler alert, which was, this was only 2 lines, right? And then what it was like, all I need to do is call this provider dot send with ETH_request account, which allows us to request a connection to the wallet. And then I'm just gonna alert on the account. So this is actually accounts here. And then if we're successful, we should see the UI pop up to say connect, and then we should alert to see our Ethereum address, which is like 0x blah blah blah. So let's try that. Okay, maybe you need to save and refresh. Okay, so connect wallet. Oh, doesn't seem to be working right now. Let me check if I messed up anything. Okay, well, let me check if there's a cheat sheet. Okay, let me check if I messed anything up. Request account. So yeah, I may have some setup issue, but I guess right now you'll just have to trust me that this should work. I will make sure that like this doc that I send out actually works correctly. I'm actually not sure why this is not working. Let's see if this is working. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what got messed up. Okay. Well, this is definitely working. We always use this to demo, probably demo Gremlin. So I will make sure that the code that we share out at the end contains the right code so you can actually play with this by yourself. Okay, so but the end result is what we deployed over here, which was which you can actually try it and test it out yourself, where you can click to connect your Coinbase wallet. Okay, so moving on. So yeah, so feel free to take down the URL so you can actually reference this, and we'll update it to make sure it's actually working. All right, so let's skip. Right, okay. So at this point, so we actually, I think you've probably seen the UI here. Let's actually play this. Yeah, where like, you can collect your wallet, and then where we want to build is actually the backend where like it sends the NFT to you, right? So now that I am no longer a front-end engineer, I'm a back-end engineer working at Rock Solid Finance. And what I want to build is, now that like I got the user's wallet address, I need to send this NFT from the company wallet to the user's wallet. So for that, I actually need to submit a transaction to the blockchain. And usually we can do that through a node provider. So these are all like public node providers that you can easily set up one. And I previously already set up one. So once you do, like you can actually interact with the blockchain using like, HTTP or API, REST API requests. So go through the UI, feel free to go through the UI to set up one for yourself. And then we will, and then once you do, I'll just quickly show some pseudocode it requires to, the rough flow it takes to send the badge. Right, so again, to the composability point, right, like once there is a standard set, there is a very publicly well-documented standard of what functions that this contract would provide. And looking at the contract, we already used the balance of earlier. And all we need to use now is the safe transfer from, which takes the from address, the to address, the points or gold badge versus amount. So all we need to do is make a transaction to call this function. And in order to do that, you would roughly go through 3 steps. One is you like compose the transaction locally, and you sign the transaction to authorize it, and then you submit it transaction to the node. So again, lots of boilerplate code, but here you can see, I won't go into the too much detail, but you see like here is the actual like transaction we're creating here, which codes in that we want to call safe transfer from. And we sign the transaction using the company wallet's private key to authorize the transaction. And then we use this node client that we just created to send the transaction to the blockchain. And then you will get the transaction back of a confirmation that this was received, and it will execute. Okay, so all of this is what it took to create the asset distribution flow on the Rock Solid company side. There is a little bit of hiccup, but hopefully you can actually get an idea that this is much easier than having to set up a new database, storing all of the state, and then now you have to set up an API server to serve these APIs, right? So hopefully that gives you a sense of how simple it is. And now, sorry, I am going a little over. Sorry for the mistake. We thought there was going to be 1 hour, but really quickly. In fact, the fact that we can go through this really quickly is because Web3 is so simple. Is now assume I'm a front-end engineer from Firmly Finance, right? This is the whole point. Like the whole point of using Web3 is so that any other person from another company is actually able to build this collaboration, this integration super easily. Right. So a quick reminder what we're building. We are building, check in with Coinbase Wallet. You click to check in, connect your wallet, and you would receive Firmly Finance is able to verify you own the gold badge, and you get a confirmation. All right. So if we were in the Web2 world, right, like you wait months for the API to be implemented from Rock Solid, and after that, you will find lots of missing or wrong documentation, subtle behavior differences, and you have a lot of difficulty in testing testing the like the actual data, because testing is very hard. And in Web3 though, like because this is a public smart contract, actually the moment you deploy the smart contract, you already have a well-documented and open API for everyone to interact with. And because the data is already available, you have very easy time testing. So this is a quick comparison. And how do we even build that? Well, it's actually the exact same flow, right? So if you still remember this interface, all we're going to leverage is just a balance off function. And, code snippet from Firmly Finance app, exact same setup code. And then instead of awaiting on, request accounts, sorry, this was a typo here. But instead of calling request accounts, you'll be calling balance off on the contract, and that would be it. And in the balance, you can verify that you have more than one, or at least one gold badge. So that's it. And hopefully it should be pretty anticlimactic, and it's the whole point, right? It is, by virtue of building on top of Web3, I think it only takes 1 minute, 2 minutes for the Firmly Finance folks to build out this integration, actually. All right. Okay, so instant cross-company collaboration, extremely simple integration. Again, we emphasize these so many times: collaboration, composability, and maintenance. And again, honestly, we are just very excited that all of you could start building on top of Web3, actually think about what unique problems in the world that can be solved easily with Web3, with the new infrastructure and technology. And sounds cheesy, but actually bring more economic freedom and actually make the world a better place with all of your efforts. And yeah, we do truly believe that. So finally, the QR code and some references to help you get started. We have a front-end template for you to build apps, and here are some references. And we will be sending out the slides as well as the working demo so you can play with. Okay, cool. I'll stop there. And Chia and I are both very happy to take some questions if there is any. Cool. Yes, thanks. We don't trust, we verify. Very good principles.
Yep, if anyone has any questions, please send them in the group chat, or you can just unmute and ask, please.
For the slides, maybe we will send to the NUS FinTech Week organizers, and maybe you all can help distribute them.
Yep, no worries.
Cool. There was a fun question of when we will release base coin, and to that, yeah, I think we usually avoid this type of potentially financial related questions. But is it okay to share? Yeah, I think we have no plans for a base coin. Yeah. Okay.
So Zihao asked, what is the hiring process at Coinbase?
Yes. In fact, I think we I don't know if Nick, our
Yeah,
lead. Oh, okay, Nick, please take it away.
Hiring process. If you are looking for internship opportunities. At least for this year, we have actually closed off our applications. But if you are a fresh graduate, we do have a couple of opportunities available. So typical recruitment process would be to first do a couple of like online assessments. After which, if you get the recommendation to move forward, then we put you forward to meet the engineers. Well, you could either meet you or Young in person as well. Again, so you go through a couple of problem-solving DSA's questions, and then again we get your packet reviewed by the hiring panel. And if all goes well, then we could talk about the numbers and offer. Yep.
All right, thank you. Do we have one final question? So Andrew asked, for the profile of people looking at non-tech roles, how much tech skills would you recommend that you minimally have?
Okay, this is again for me, I believe. How much for non-tech? So okay, so I think fundamentally, at least if you are interested to apply to Coinbase, a general interest in crypto would definitely suffice. Again, if you are looking to apply to, let's say, for example, like marketing or like any other non-tech roles in Coinbase, just as a fresh graduate or any other companies out there, I think just knowing the industry, showing a keen interest on maybe some side projects or what's happening in this domain would be very useful. Especially because I think a lot of these interviewers, they might potentially ask questions on how you would navigate yourself in such a tricky world or like fast changing environment. So showing that adaptability and interest and domain knowledge could potentially help you stand out from other candidates as well. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you to Ms. Yuan Guo and Mr. Chu for your valuable insights. We will now be breaking for lunch for an hour. Please be back in the Zoom call by 12:55 to start our next set of workshops for today. And we look forward to seeing you back here. Thank you again to our speakers and everyone from Coinbase.
Thank you for hosting us, and thanks everyone for listening.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Please be back by 12:55. Thank you.